Jimmy G trending as he avoids the deep ball. Will it continue? Well, since the start of last season, Jimmy G has the third lowest rate of passes, 20-plus yards downfield, and probably for good reason. He ranks 29th in QBR, 25th in completion percentage on such throws. This season, Jimmy G just 2 completions, 20 yards downfield, second fewest of any QB with at least 50 passes this season. Dan, how big of an issue is this statistic?
When it comes to Super Bowl contending, it's a big issue. This is a good offense. Kyle Shanahan always has good offenses. Even under Jimmy, they're going to run the football well. They're going to utilize the play action, and they're going to be very good with the yards after the catch. But unless Jimmy Garoppolo and Brandon Ayuk figure out a way to create some form of explosive plays in their offense, and when I talk about explosive plays, the ones when the ball actually gets thrown down the field, it's hard to sit here and say that they're a Super Bowl contending offense. We'll be very good, win a bunch of games with it, but they got to add that element, that quarterback and that receiver specifically.
And Dan is right, Jordan and Mina. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers and Jimmy G, I don't want the football down the field in the middle. Keep it on the outside numbers. Anything to the sidelines, vertical stretch, deep crosses, as long as he's going to the sidelines, I'm okay with it, because we've seen Jimmy G, when he's tried to throw the ball in the middle of the field, deep down, it's either a turnover or something along those lines. I don't trust that at all.
That's where this gets really tricky, right? Because on one hand, Dan's absolutely right. This offense does need to be more explosive through the air, certainly against better offenses that they'll face, especially in the playoffs. Right. On the other hand, Keyshawn, you alluded to this. So we see all the stats where Jimmy G ranks near the bottom of the NFL in deep passes. On 15-yard-plus passes over the last 2 seasons, a stat where he ranks first is interception rate. 7.2% of his attempts in that range have been picked off. And, you know, while I guess throwing outside would help along those lines, because he does seem vulnerable to safeties in that robber role, he's not very good at throwing outside the numbers. And part of me wonders, with the defenses being as good as it is, if Kyle will just be too risk-averse, given Jimmy's history, to even attempt throwing the ball downfield. But unfortunately, that is the difficult place this Niners offense is in. As efficient as they are, as good as they are at running the ball, that's never going to be a strong suit for them.
Keyshawn.
The reason I like throwing outside the numbers on vertical stuff is because if you don't catch it, most likely the ball is going out of bounds. When you have the middle of the field, and Dan, you know this as a quarterback, that field is so big. Those safeties are sliding over. They can get over there quick, fast, in a hurry. If it tips off a receiver's hand, whatever the case may be, putting it on the outside edge of the numbers, though, is always a plus in my book.
So 2 things. I want to touch on that quickly. While I agree with you, Key, the fundamental basis of this pass game is the play action game. It's hard to really build a lot of consistency or consistent concepts that you can use play action that push the ball downfield to the sidelines. You can get some crossers in, no doubt, but a lot of times it's attacking the middle of the field. Mina, the stat that you bring up with the interception rate is paramount. I'm interested to know, or I wonder if the expectations in San Francisco have changed now in comparison to 3 months ago. Did they expect their defense to be, right now it's one of the best we've seen in 2 decades. Did they expect that? And then there's a reason why they drafted and went to Trey Lance, because they know there's the limitations. But they also know that Jimmy runs this offense a little bit better efficiency-wise. Looking at the conference, like, do they sit there and say, all right, we are Super Bowl contenders now because this defense is that good? And do they believe what we believe offensively?
I mean, heck, they made it to the Super Bowl with basically the exact same formula, right? They know that. And I've always said this team, with Jimmy Garoppolo, the floor is higher, the ceiling is lower. For me, the key will just be simply not turning the ball over, because I think the defense is that good.
But, Dan, quickly, has this group maybe overachieved? I mean, no Trent Williams, no George Kittle, and yet they're still at this point through week 4.
That's a little bit of it. Week 1, the torrential downpour with Trey. Week 2, he gets hurt. Kittle wasn't playing. No Trent right now. I don't think anybody who knows football has any reservations if we believe that this offense is going to be good. But this defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. This defense is better than the year they won to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. But this offense, unless they threatened and get defenses to believe Jimmy is good enough and capable to put the ball in their heads, it's going to be limited.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.